Matthew Stafford, Jared Verse, and Los Angeles Rams host Tyler Shough, Chris Olave, and the New Orleans Saints in an NFC matchup. Now, we got to start with the Rams before we go to New Orleans here because this team off the bye, what did they do before the bye? Well, they just had their quarterback throw for 5 touchdowns, no picks. They just had 7 sacks as a defense. It felt like they had 14 in that game. A player in Travis Etienne, they only gave him 8 carries when he's been over 5 yards on the season. Seems like a great game plan from Liam Cohen. I think Sean McVay was like, okay, that's what they want to do, drop back against our defense. Look, we're going to see something different out of New Orleans this week with Tyler Shough making his debut against this Rams defense. You would imagine that Kellen Moore is going to do all he can to make it doable for him. He did get reasonable playing time once Spencer Rattler comes out of the game. Shough goes in, doesn't play all that well. I think that having that amount of playing experience and meaningful reps against Tampa Bay will go a mile towards playing a little bit better against Tampa. Look, the move does need to come. This is a Saints team that was 1-6 and then struggling in that first half. It was a 3-7 football game at halftime. They really had a shot. And what do good teams do? What did the Rams do against the Ravens when they were struggling? They went out and they dominated the Ravens that second half. What did Tampa do against the Saints? There was only a 7-3 game. They go out, dominate the second half, win that game 23-3. So I think there's a commonality that teams can have slow starts, that New Orleans could have a slow start and the Rams could too. This could look like a one-score game in the first half. I think that's necessary for New Orleans to be in this game. You have to find a way to get the run game going, as well as Chris Olave. Look, he's being looked at as a premium trade deadline target right now, and with good reason. He's been a star in this offense. Even last week, it felt like a slower game for him. He still has 8 catches, 60 yards, and the week before that, he's got 2 touchdowns against the Chicago Bears, and seemingly is your number one biggest threat on this offense. What does Tyler Shough bring that's an advantage over Spencer Rattler? Well, I think it's an element in the pocket in his days at Louisville, or when he played at Louisville a year ago, and you're looking at a team that was playing at a high level. It's the anticipatory throws. It's throwing guys open. I think there's an understanding of what his role is in this offense. I don't see it being this crazy high level difference, right? Rattler versus Shough. Is there going to be a massive drop off, or is there going to be a massive jolt to this offense with him in it, especially against a better defense in the Rams than what Tampa Bay has? No, I don't see that coming. What I do see is a quarterback that might make some mistakes. He'll be put in position not to, but with the defense that the Rams run and the pressure that they do get on the quarterback, it at times can be suffocating and unlike any other units in football, in the National Football League. It's so important to protect your quarterback. You got to get Alvin Kamara 10, 12 carries in this game. I think that Taysom Hill somehow has to be a factor in this one as the Swiss Army knife. I just don't know what his role really is at this point, to be honest, with the Saints. It's like they've been trying to factor him in and recapture some of that golden boy ability from 4 or 5 years ago, and it's just not happening. In order to attack the Rams, unfortunately, it is in their secondary because Nate Landman in the middle of that defense, which is what the announcers are now calling him. Look, I'll call him Landman, whatever the pronunciation is, I'll say it, whatever's correct. It seems like Landman's fine. You want to come at me in the comments? You can't, because I said both pronunciations, and so I'm double covering it. I'm good on either one. You can't come at me there. He's a heck of a football player, though. And the cornerback position is good for LA. I would just put it as the only kind of weakness here. They still got some heck of a football players here. In the back end, Cam Curl has been playing well. I really like Quentin Lake also back there. Look, this Rams team, it's hard to try and pick holes in them overall. After all, their 2 losses on the season are a 4th and 1 to San Francisco at the end. They picked it up. They probably win. Or if Williams doesn't fumble at the half-yard line, as well as the Eagles blocked field goal, or if they find a way to make one of those field goals. They also had one. Oh, it was also blocked right against the Eagles. So in that early fourth quarter, late third, this is a team that's right up there with some of the best teams in the NFL. And I frankly don't see a path. We're looking at Alabama playing Mississippi State right now. No disrespect to Mississippi State, but this is a much better Rams team. They're led by a quarterback that is, in my opinion, the best in the NFC in Matthew Stafford. He's playing with confidence. It looks like Puka Nacua is back. Now, I'm recording this video on Tuesday night. Gotta let you know, I'm not sure the availability of Nacua in this game. I don't know if he is playing. I'm assuming he's playing, that he's about back with that ankle, and that he will be practicing tomorrow. Sean McVay said he expects him to be on the practice field, and he will be available. If he didn't play in this game, which I would be a little bit sad because he's on my fantasy team, I'd love for Puka Nacua. Just 9 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown. Just a 25-point performance. Nothing too crazy there. This is a typical day at the office. For him to not be on the field, I almost think that it helps the Rams another week, because what you saw from LA a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I should say, before the bye, was the explosion of Davante Adams. Now, he didn't have 160 yards, but he was a target in the red zone. And I think getting into the box, the end zone is a box. It's more like a rectangle, but whatever. Getting into the end zone is so important for a guy's confidence and belief in getting back to that level. Like, hey, I was the best receiver in football. Maybe I'm number 2, but without Nacua over there stealing some of my targets, there's a level that I can still show some people that I can be dominant. And I think inserting that in, if Adams even got one more week being the number 1 guy, and this offense went through him and he got 8, 10, 11 targets once, and I think this could do wonders for this Los Angeles Ram offense and getting Davante Adams to that level where he's not number 2, he's just 1B behind Puka Nacua, where he's still at that level to be a number 1 wide receiver for a whole bunch of teams in the league. Look, this guy's still 32 years old. He's got probably 3 more years of full juice left in the tank there. Still one of the best route runners that this game has ever seen. The size every time is a factor for him. Against New Orleans, this is just a matchup nightmare when we have a guy of that physical stature, that type of smooth route running. Also, he's faster than he looks on tape. It's a guy that's really dangerous. And you add Puka Nacua also into that, it just makes it very tough. Now, this Rams team, they would have liked to run the football against Jacksonville. I know Sean McVay is going to be nitpicking things because that's his nature. He wants to win another Super Bowl, wants to win probably a couple more Super Bowls. And he does, but he wants to do them before 2030. With Matthew Stafford, he wants to get it done. He's got limited time left with an impact. How can he help out his veteran quarterback, Matthew Stafford? It's with a run game. He had a nice balance. Blake Corum starting to get his carries. He just hasn't broken through yet. Kyren Williams, he's seeing a little bit of competition for RB2 here right now. Look, Kyren Williams is that burst back that he has the home run ability, and he just gets through that hole and gets you 6 or 7. He's fun to watch because it is jump cut, and he's able to just hit that hole with a lot of pace. And he makes contact. He's got that good balance. He doesn't go down all the time on first contact. Neither does Blake Corum. That's what makes good running backs. It's what you saw a lot of Alvin Kamara younger in his career. I want to also address here what this Rams team is comparatively. I think that there's 2 teams at the top end that separate, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles and the Los Angeles Rams, even a little bit above the Detroit Lions because of their defense. It just looks like they won't get to a status on the defensive side of the ball to what the Eagles provide, as well as what the Rams do as an entire defensive unit. Although the Lions have looked really good, and we'll see a Lions-Rams matchup on Sunday Night Football in a couple of weeks. But it's 2 elite wide receivers. It's a great run game. One of the best play callers in the sport, and a Super Bowl champion quarterback. Philadelphia, they've got all of those elements. In Nick Sirianni, a Super Bowl champion quarterback. the run game, and then you pair the defense with that. These are the best two teams, in my opinion, in the NFC. For New Orleans, this is a very tough task. Going on the road to LA, to SoFi Stadium, in the sound machine at whose house? It's a game where I think LA defends their house very well here. To see an upset win, you would need to have takeaways. They would need to pick up third and long, because I don't see them being in third and short throughout the day here against LA. They would need to execute every time they're in the red zone. And it's a play on special teams. It's a return for a touchdown. It's a block kick. You need all of those elements in your favor. Turnovers, red zone, third down efficiency, as well as a special teams turnover. This is one of the widest gaps in a game I have sort of predicted for the entire season. I've got the Rams with the win 38-16. They're a 13.5, 2-touchdown favorite. I don't think that's enough. I like LA to win this game. For you at home, I would really pound this one. It looks like a Rams team. If you're able to get 13.5 still, I like that, just because of the ability for LA to score really quick in bunches. They can go from 3 points to 20 points, bam, in the snap of your fingers. And for the Saints, look, the positive here is you're not paying one of these quarterbacks a bunch of money. You get to find out what you had in Rattler in the season. Okay, that's what he is. Now, looks like he'll be a backup level quarterback for his career. That's fine. He's gonna be fine. And the Tyler Shough, what do you have in him? Does it work out the rest of the season? You had Rattler go for the first 8 games. Now you have Tyler Shough go the second half of the season, and then you're able to fully make your evaluations. Do you give them another shot next year, see how they develop, or do you go out and get a quarterback? There's going to be some depth in this draft. It's tough to tell who's going to be the best or where you would take one if you're the Saints. I mean, investing in a second round pick for a QB and the guy doesn't, come in a large capacity until week 8 is tough, but that's sort of the nature of the beast here. But for the Saints, look, there can be spots where you're paying the wrong guy $50 million and there's nowhere to go. They're not in that position. They'll have a high top 5 draft pick most likely. They've got that capital. So this is a team to sort of watch here. And again, unlike the Rams that have to compete with San Francisco and Seattle every year now going forward, it's the South, like Atlanta. They're a team that's always sort of strange. And Carolina, same thing. You're not really scared of them. And Tampa Bay, they're gettable now. They've dealt with injuries and they're good with Baker, but it's not a division that has the strength of the West. So the Saints, hang in there, Saints fans. It's going to be okay. This is a very proud program that I think has potential there, pedigree, history, just LA I like in this game. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below, who do you think wins this game? Am I too high on the Rams to win it by over 20 points? Do you think New Orleans has more of a shot than that? I appreciate you so much for watching. If you have not already, please subscribe for more Blitz with Blender content in the future. I'm Josh Blender. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.